Metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Today we are looking at the sophomore album from Vile Creature entitled Glory, Glory, Apathy Took Helm. Even by the standards of doom, sludge, and drone metal, Vile Creature is a particularly brash and weird band. Their music is very oppressive and abrasive thanks to long, lumbering, droning sections of sludge and noise, devoid entirely of melody and coupled with vocals that, from a distance, could easily be mistaken for the wails of a mentally ill banshee or just pure white noise. Vile Creature doesn't just ask or expect your patience, they outright command it, making for a sound so extreme and inherently uncomfortable that honestly you wouldn't be out of line if you chose to simply abandon this band after spending a few moments with them. I'm not gonna lie, I came bloody close to doing the same on their previous studio album, Cast of Static and Smoke. But ultimately I did not abandon them, and perhaps at the time it was just because I wanted to support some really weird Canadian metal, but nonetheless, I stuck with them, I listened to the album, and with time it's genuinely grown on me. There is genuine beauty buried deep within the black heart of Vile Creature's chaos. And while Vile Creature may very well continue to alienate people on this new album, Glory, Glory, Apathy Took Helm, that beauty, nonetheless, has been pushed further to the surface, with Vic and KW consistently sounding more confident and more comfortable, utilizing all of the resources at their disposal and combining it with everything that makes their sound so inherently powerful to create what I believe is truly one of the more unique albums within the spectrums of doom, sludge, and drone metal. It starts with that sound though, man. I mean, Harbinger of Nothing just immediately launches these bitter, sour, outright miserable screams and wails directly at you as if it's being shot out of a cannon, quickly followed and emboldened with thick walls of sludge and these frantic little bursts of heavy percussion. It feels as if Vile Creature is literally dragging you through the sonic mud back into their own little weird pocket universe. And it's in this pocket universe where this album's grand visions are revealed. As the album goes on, as much as it remains oppressive doom, it also strays a little bit from oppressive doom, delving into some more ambient and progressive ideas with vocal choirs, long, dreamy soundscapes, and some genuinely creepy voiceover work that make the album's themes of moral nihilism feel all the more poignant. Take, for instance, When the Path is Unclear, which I feel more than comfortable calling the literal sonic adaptation of your worst possible nightmare. Constantly building upon dark ambience, static, and what could only be described as psychotic political poetry, before releasing an absolutely grueling, explosive catharsis as Vile Creature continue to build up while launching into some very blatant oppressive doom and sludge. It constantly keeps you so tense and so anxious, almost feeling as if Vile Creature is watching you from the shadows. Or On You Who Has Never Slept, which by comparison does feel a little bit more thunderous, a little bit more raucous. There's some more wild percussion, some mid-pace doom and sludge, almost hearkening to that of a band like Yob. Not long after this, though, Vile Creature shoves your face back into the mud, even bringing back some of the psychotic tendencies of the aforementioned When the Path is Unclear, becoming particularly eerie, yet in some weird subtle way also triumphant with the repeated droning use of the line, "We will not be bystanders." But I would say that the crown jewel in Vile Creature's experimental and unorthodox misery would be the dual combo of Glory, Glory and Apathy Took Helm, two separate tracks combining together into a 14-minute epic that stands as the band's most ambitious and powerful number to date. The first part of this Glory, Glory isn't just the first bit of light on this record, it's the first bit of light I've heard on any Vile Creature release, utilizing choirs, clean guitar, and piano in a fashion that feels almost angelic. It weirdly feels like something out of the Muirker playbook, albeit with a lot less Scandinavian influence. As if to challenge peace and tranquility itself, though, Apathy took Helm immediately barges in with Vile Creature's most extreme and bloodthirsty material on the record. Nihilism itself literally swarms and overwhelms the angelic nature of Glory, Glory, and yet angelic choirs still pierce through the sound as if to prove that there is still light at the end of the tunnel. On some level, it honestly felt as if the entire album was building up to this huge moment, because tension and anxiety just continues to flow from track to track, and it just unleashes in this hellish yet beautiful format in this number. Perhaps what's most impressive about this album, though, is that despite how inherently uncomfortable and challenging a lot of this material is, I never really felt the need to stop and take a break. Like, everything flows remarkably well, and Vile Creature, apparently being the one doom sludge drone band that understands that we don't have 90 minutes to kill on a single record, keeps things relatively trim at a surprisingly sharp 43 minutes. I was initially going to give this thing a 3.5 out of 5, but now that I've been sitting here talking about it and really digging into it a bit more, I'm feeling a 4 out of 5 on this. I think this is a great record. It will still very likely disenchant people, particularly those unfamiliar with the worlds of Doom, Sludge, and Drone. But those who are willing to give Vile Creature the patience that they demand will be rewarded with something far beyond what you can find in any of those respective genres. Something far more intelligent, something far more ambitious, something far more emotional, and far more powerful as a result of all this. On a more nitpicky note, I will say that there was a moment near the end of When the Path is Unclear that kind of took me out of the experience of this album initially. It's a brief moment where KW announces that you have reached the end of side A of the record, and not only is it a little bit jarring to have this interrupted by an announcement about the album, but it just doesn't really seem useful. Like, if I'm listening to this on vinyl, I'll pretty much know when we're at the end of side A, because it'll stop. And if I'm listening to this on digital, it won't matter, because it's digital. It's not like I have to flip my laptop or something. I mean, it's not like a big deal, and considering that there's a VHS version of this record, I'm sure that there's some kind of visual component to that bit that I have lost in translation. But nonetheless, I think it would be dishonest of me to not bring up a moment in which I was briefly not immersed in the record. Despite that, I was invested all the way through this record, to the point where I actually found myself wanting to really get back into this album the moment I finished my first run. So 4 to 5, a very challenging record from a very challenging band. I think what Vic and KW here have created is very unique, very special, very ambitious, even quite therapeutic given the state of the world right now. And I'm extremely excited to see where they continue to evolve from here on, because if they're making these kinds of dramatic leaps just on their sophomore album, then holy shit, imagine what the next one's gonna be like. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be, so what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? Thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown immediately, and you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.